Happy Valentine's month, everybody. I'm the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to share with you some of my favorite Valentine's Day episodes from TV shows or even movies. Not everything is all lovey-dovey. Sometimes Valentine's Days deal with heartache and everything. So, some episodes will be romantic and lovey-dovey, while others will be very sad and heart-wrenching and stuff. But love is love. It doesn't always come with smiles and giggles and glee. So I'm here today to talk to you about The Sex Lives of College Girls, Season 1, Episode 1, Welcome to Sussex, and Episode 2, Nude Party. So I've decided to review both these episodes at once because I don't know if I'm really gonna continue talking about this show or even do a rundown review. Only because I'm very conflicted by this show. I watched the trailer and I didn't like the trailer, but I decided to watch the show. Hey, why not? You know what I'm saying? It looks interesting. I still have HBO Max until a few days until I try to get rid of it. So I won't be charged again because I'm tired of HBO Max. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And so the first episode is the only one that's an hour long. And every other episode is only 20 to 30 minutes. And it's only 10 episodes. And so I watched the first two. And so I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's some things are not working for me in this show, and some things are just okay. It's not a terrible show by no means, but it's just not for me. There's a few problems I have with this show, which I hope, because this show got renewed after the initial run, and so I'm hoping by the second season it'll get better. Because not every first season is always great for some shows that I like. I love Star Trek shows, but normally the first seasons aren't that great. I love Becker when I started watching the reruns, but I'm not really feeling season 1. I love The King of Queens when I started watching the reruns, but I'm not really a fan of season 1. So maybe it's kind of like that. So that's what I'm hoping. So it's kind of one of those shows that I don't particularly like, but I can't stop watching for some reason. And one part of the reason why, because my favorite character on the show is the Kimberly character. And so I'm just please be good. Please let me just like this show. I mean, I haven't seen too many people online review this show or even talk about it, but it got renewed. Its ratings are it got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it also has an average of about 7.6 to a 10 rating system. So that's slightly above average, you know what I'm saying? It's slightly above that 5 to 10% rating. So it's so there's other people that do have problems with this show. But for the most part, when this show, some things I do like is it does remind me a little bit of college. When you see some of these characters, it reminds me a little bit of what I went through in college and stuff like that. However, the problem with this show is writing, is comedy, and the acting. And the characters, which is pretty much everything. It's just it feels hokey. It reminds me of college, but it does it in an extreme, almost spoofy kind of way. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of that's the part that kind of gets me. A lot of the humor does not land with me. Sometimes it does, but it's rare. It's rare that I actually laugh. The acting, the main cast is a bunch of newcomers, rookies, people who don't have a long resume of acting. So that you can tell when you watch it. Okay, they have a little green in them, they have a little rookiness in them, But over time, they can get better. So that's the thing. It's there's been a lot of shows that people are in, the acting's not that great, but then they tend to get better as seasons go. A lot of the characters don't have no chemistry that's supposed to be together. I'm just how come y'all ain't got no chemistry? And stuff. And so it's just this show reminds me of Sex Education, but Sex Education is a million times better. Like the characters are better, it's written better, the jokes are better, everything comes together better. It's just like certain situations that happen in this show, it just doesn't make no sense. And I feel it would be better if it was written slightly different and stuff. And so, like, then I started to think to myself, okay, well, the only people who are reviewing this, and this is a girly show, so I'm just like, maybe this is just like not for me. Maybe it's just designed for like be like a girly type thing. But then I'm like, oh wait, hold up, because there are other girl shows that I love. Like I love Desperate Housewives. I love Pretty Little Liars. I love Mistresses. There I have tons of chick flick movies, so that can't be it. So I just think there's certain things that just aren't clicking with me with this show. But for the most part, it's kind of okay, but it's kind of like it needs stronger writing for the most part. Now, this show is created by Justin Noble, who I have no idea who that is, and Mindy, is it Kayleen or Carleen, from the Mindy Project. Now, that could be a reason why. See, here's the thing. I like Mindy. I respect Mindy. I love the fact that she's doing things on her own and creating stuff and giving people chances and stuff. My only problem is, okay, the last season that was on Fox of the Mindy Project, not the Hulu, when it went to Hulu, but when it was still on Fox, that last season, I watched a few episodes. I did not care for the show. And after watching those few episodes, I stopped watching. So I think what it is I'm not used to what like her style, you know what I'm saying? Her style of writing. And she did write the pilot along with Justin. But then other people, then I'm like, okay, well, if she wrote that and I didn't like it, maybe that could be it. So then I watched the second episode and I still didn't particularly like it that much. So, and she did not write that one. So I'm just kind of like, it has to be something else. Like, you know, so it's just, it's I will go into detail of why like in these two episodes. This isn't a rundown review. This is only the first two episodes. I have not seen the rest. Maybe it gets better. I'm hoping it does. Maybe the character writing gets better. I really hope that does. And it's just like I see sex education in this show only by like certain like character traits, and that's about it. I still think I only seen the first season of Sex Education, and it's a whole lot better than this. And I don't really even know why this show is called The Sex Life of College Girls, because there ain't that much like clickety clacking going on in these first two episodes and stuff. And so, like, I do know because like there's a recurring character who's in 5 episodes, and when I saw her in the pilot, I'm just like, ugh. So I was automatically just turned off by this. I will get into why I don't like that actress at the very end of this video because it's a rant. And I don't feel like ranting right now, but I'll rant at the end of this video about why I'm just disturbed and disgusted by this scumbag of an actress. And I hate seeing her on this show. So, what exactly is The Sex Life of College Girls? Well, it is a show where a bunch of 18-year-olds are in their first year of college, their first years. Or maybe somebody even be 19. You know, some people take like a gap year. And so they're around 18, 19, and they're played by mostly 20 to 30-year-old students. And so it's these 4 girls who are roommates. And they have their own different personalities, their own different lives, their own different feelings about like sex and stuff like that. And they just go through the motions of college and relationships and stuff like that. Everybody's been there, you know what I'm saying? Going to college, experiencing new things, and you know, and things not turn out the way they want to. Like one thing that I think that is cool about this show is that it actually reminds me of college. Each of like when you see these characters on screen, y'all like, oh yeah, I met that type of person before and stuff. So that's cool. The only problem is that sometimes they take it a bit too like much, and it doesn't really feel that realistic at times because the writing, even though it's set in a realistic setting, the writing isn't always like it portrays people in a slight, just a slight unrealistic setting, or they'll say something that you don't normally hear somebody say, but you know somebody has said something like that before. In all honesty, it feels like this show should have been on the CW. It feels like it has that writing and it has that type of vibe. Now, this show is very diverse, which is a great thing. I like seeing that and stuff. So that's why I think it would fit better on the CW as opposed to HBO Max. I'm not really feeling these HBO Max shows, which is another reason why I want to get rid of my subscription and everything. I just did it to watch the DC stuff. That's really it. I just wanted to see like the movies and the shows, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, I can't handle it. Like, and it makes me mad now because South Park is showing new episodes on HBO Max. And I'm like, crap, I'm trying my best to get rid of this thing within a couple of days. And South Park has finally came back on. And the premiere episode of season 25 was amazing. So, but like, yeah, it's like when you see these characters on the show, you really feel like you've met these type of people before, you know? Like, Kimberly is the type of person I would totally be friends with, and I have been friends with. She is like the dopey, how you put she's not really racist. It's just she's unaware of how people of color really are, and she has a not okay. She's not racist. She doesn't say nothing racist, but it's kind of like, you ever notice that you have that one friend who's very unaware of people of color because she lives in a predominantly white, like, hick town, so she's not really used to seeing people of color unless it's on TV and stuff. And so her family had this preperceived notion of what people of color is. They kind of taught it to her, but she sees it on TV. She sees the things that are going on in the news, and she's kind of like a justice fighter for like people of color, but she doesn't really understand them. And so when she is around them, she's kind of like, yes, brother, I understand your pain, and man, the hardship y'all must have went through, and having to run from like the police and all the. She's kind of like one of those, you know. Or it's like, man, having to live up in poverty and having to sell and push drugs just to make a living. Like she's one of those type who assumes all that crap. You know what I'm saying? So. And you know, you've seen that type of person before, but what really I like about her is she's so nice and sweet, but she's very optimistic, which people like that I don't like. But I can see myself being friends with her because she is a dork, and I've had a friend, like several friends that are similar to her. I've had like the dopey, dorky friend who's trying to come out her shell, which is what Kimberly is. And I've had that friend who's like a former racist, like a hardcore racist who stopped being racist and now just accepts everybody, the people of color and everything, because she feels bad for how she was back in the day. So you see these type of people and you witness these type of people before, you know what I'm saying? Another thing about Kimberly that reminds me of her is like, she has a boyfriend back home and she lives very far away from the college, and so she came to college attached. And I remember my freshman year there were so many girls like that had boyfriends back home, which I thought was just the dumbest thing ever. I understand your high school sweethearts, okay, and I get you like love each other and doing a long distance thing, but I mean, my God, you're like thousands of miles away, hundreds of miles away, and there's like a pool of like single people who like totally want to get with you and you want to get with them, and you can't because you're like attached. And I've met those type of people before, and not only that, but it's kind of like you're far away, you can't like know if that person cheated on you or not. So it's kind of like you kind of want to keep, like, you don't want to spy, but you want to keep an eye, you know, on them a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and stuff, because it's kind of like they're far away, they can do whatever they want and you have no idea. And I've met those type of like friends that had like a crush on me, but nothing could ever happen because they were attached and they came to school attached. And I just always remember having this like notion in my head back in the day. It's kind of like, look, if you're in high school and you go to college, long distance is going to be the hardest thing ever, because in college anything can happen, you know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, and you will have different feelings, just like when you make different like new best friends and stuff. it's one of those hard, difficult life choices to make. And so going into like a new setting, far, far away for the next 4, 5, 6 years, being attached, it's hard, you know what I'm saying? Because their eyes are gonna wander around. And I remember I had this one girl, she had like, she's like bi and she had a girlfriend back home, but she was a frisky little thing when she got to college, and she was trying to get with like everybody and stuff. And I'm just like, well, don't you have like a girlfriend back home, and aren't you like a lesbian? She's like, well, I'm bi, and yeah, I have a girlfriend, and yeah, I love her, but I'm horny. And I'm just like, Lord have mercy. So it's one of those hard, difficult things, and that's what Kimberly is. She is horny. She is a virgin. Her boyfriend's a virgin. And so, like, she can't see him and stuff. And so, but here's the problem I have with the writing. Like, okay, this show like doesn't have lingering consequences to people's actions, especially like when it comes to Kimberly. Like they already set up, she's a virgin, she's unaware of like people of color, and so she's very fascinated by them. Um, she's not going to be able to see her boyfriend because he lives far away. And but then all of a sudden, so you think, okay, that's gonna, so it'll be great to set up some drama, like for her like eyes wandering around, because her eyes did wander on the first episode when she checked out Nico and everything, because he was running around shirtless and stuff. And so, but she has a boyfriend, but her eyes wandered, you see. And then so instead of making some good drama with that, what do they do? Oh, her boyfriend shows up like the first night or the second night of like school and wants to spend the night over the weekend. What kind of mess is that? You already set up, he lives far away. He's in like some other place. She's in college. And instead of letting that like build up, oh, you just like just ruin that. And then with a couple of like minutes in the show, and then of course what happens, they clickety clack and everything. And so then it's kind of like, well, dude, she should have been like the 40-year-old virgin. Somebody going all through school wanting to get some but can't get some, and then makes that mistake of actually getting some later on in the series. But no, they rushed that storyline, and they rushed it within literally a couple of minutes of the show. And like, oh God, Lord, imagine the dude who plays a boyfriend. Okay, no offense, shave your chest and stomach. I'm sorry. I don't like hairy people at all. I don't like the idea of hair, so I will shave. And I feel everybody else should shave too. But that's too much hair on your chest, man. Like I'm one of those lucky people who don't have hair on their back. So when I say hair, like if you ever watch wrestling, and remember Albert? They used to first call him Prince Albert, but then they later called him Albert, the dude with the piercings, bald head, TNA. He's hairy like that. And stuff. And so, but this is one thing that don't make no sense. Also with the writing when it comes to her boyfriend. Her roommate started teasing her, talking about, wait, hold up. You're a virgin, he's a virgin, and he's gonna wait for you as like, you're in college. Then they started giving her this weird look, and she's like, what's wrong? She's like, I don't know, but it sounds like he's a little something, something. So they kind of alluded to the fact that he might cheat on her or that he might be gay, and that's why he's holding out on sex and everything. And so, but then when he gets with her, this is what happens after they do it. The moment after they do it, he's all like, yeah, this whole long distance thing just isn't going to work out, and I'm dumping you. So she's upset. She's like, you took my virginity and then you're going to dump me? And he's like, well, yeah. And so, but then there's no alluding to if he's already done it before or if he's into guys. So why give us that impression if you're not going to follow up on it? Then when she's at a party, he does a scumbag thing and he texts her all like, I wanted to see how you was doing, with a heart emoji. Then he's all like, can I have your Netflix password? I'm just like, dude, why are you making him that scummy and everything and stuff? And so yeah, they could have set up something. That's the problem I have like with this show. They set up such good, like juicy stuff, but then they ruin it within a couple of minutes and it has no consequences. Another thing about her when it comes to the whole race aspect that I have a problem with is Okay, so first let me get into her mom. Her mom has played. Ooh, I forgot her name. She played Shigo on Kim Possible. She was also on Mad TV. I'm a huge fan of hers. I can't think of her name right now, but yeah, she's played on Blackish, and she's played like a racist type character before. So I don't know why she's playing the second one for. Um, and so like the thing about the Kimberly character is that, I've seen the whole white unaware of people of color and slight racism thing before in Blackish. And it was done a whole lot better with that with the white characters on that show. Well, on that show, you have a character who is white and he's all for like people of color, he's all for like injustice and stuff like that. And he goes over the line of saying like, like, oh, he's so gun-ho when he doesn't really understand. But he's one of those type of like bleeding hearts that whereas like he's all for the cause, but he doesn't understand the cause. And then you have Dre's boss, who is racist but doesn't realize he's raceless, braceless, racist and everything. And so I've seen writing like that done a million times better on like that show. So I don't understand why it's not done better on this one. Now, when it comes to her and race, this is what bothers me. One of her roommates, the Nico, remember Nico I mentioned, the dude? Well, he's the brother of this her roommate. And so he's white. But he's also mixed with like Native American, but they don't say that in the show. But for now, he's played by like a white. He's considered a white character. When okay, so like she is poor, right? Very, 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 very poor. And she goes to school on like I guess like grants and loans and stuff like that, maybe even a scholarship. Which that's something you can relate to as well. A lot of poor students are going to college now and can go because of grants and loans. And they have to pay those loans back. There are people in their 50s still paying off loans. Student loans, that is. And so, like, she's in the work study program and stuff where you get to not only go to school, but you automatically get a job there. And she gets one at like a cafe. And like, there's a white manager who I only saw briefly in the first episode, but then she has these co-workers. Uh, um, a cavalier, nonchalant black dude and a very mouthy Latino girl. And so, like, of course, this is when we find out how she interacts with people of color and with the whole, oh my God, I understand your struggles and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so she tells that to like the black dude, right? And he's just in his eyes, you can just see, he's like, oh my God, what the world's going on here? Like he's never experienced anything like this before. So he decides he's gonna have a little fun with her. He's gonna tease her and stuff. He's all like, oh yeah, man, the struggles I go through and all this other stuff and like my brothers and somebody's on crack and having to sell crack and everything like that. So she's like, oh my God, like I can't believe you have to go through that and stuff. But then he's all like, but you think my life is hard? Wait till you see the other character and stuff. God, what are their names? I'm trying to remember. Okay, so the guy name is Cannon or something like that. And the girl she works with is like Leica or Leah, something like that. And so he tells her a bunch of stuff about her. So then the next day when she goes to, she's like, oh man, I can't believe like, all this stuff happened to you and the oppression and all this stuff. And she's all like, what the world are you talking about? She's all like, well, Cannon said like, you did this and this, and she's like, girl, he's just playing with you. So she gets really pissed and offended by that because he just played her for like a sap. But it was all like in good fun and everything. But she takes this very seriously because she like, she doesn't understand. You know what I'm saying? Because she literally asked the dude, like, you're black. Like, what does that feel like to be black? Like, and all. She literally asked that. She asked him, how does it feel to be black? And that's something you don't ask people. If you do ask them, you're like, how does it feel being black in a society that treats you like badly or keeps you down? Like, that's an okay question to ask. But this asking, how does it feel to be black? That's like playing with a black person's hair when you're not used to their hair. You know what I'm saying? And that happens a lot. People don't want to believe this, but it's true. You can be in school. It don't matter what grade you're in. You could be elementary, middle school, high school, or college. And like a white person who's not used to like people of color hair, like Asian silky hair, or black people like roughy like hair and stuff like that, or like Jewish people who have like a Brillo pad type hair, the curly hair, they will touch. They will touch and they will play with it without your permission. And that has happened to me before too. When I was in elementary, I was like, why is this girl playing with my hair? And stuff. And so like so she gets offended by that because like in her defense, she doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? And so like so then there's a scene where these towards the end of that episode, because like they don't discuss that no further between like her not understanding races and this and that. But then there are these white guys in a frat and they see Cannon like sweeping. So they decide to ball up a sheet of paper and throw it on the floor right by his feet so he can pick it up. Like he's their little servant and everything. He just looks at them and just like, and before he can even react, because he has kind of like, man, I can't believe they did this to me type racist type thing. Kimberly, boy, she gets fiery. She's like, hey, how dare you do that to him? He's a hardworking man who going to because the school they go to is a very rich school. She's all like, not everybody has money like y'all, and this is a very poor. And like we're very poor people, have to work at these jobs, and he is not your servant boy, and all this other stuff. And she gives it to him. And so dude's all like, all right, fine, like I'm sorry and everything. I'm just like that. Like they wrote that like just like that, like she's the hero and everything. And I'm just like, that don't make no sense. This is still the first episode that's an hour long. She has not learned her lesson of what it's like to be a person of color. She has not learned her lesson of what people of color are like. So how is she standing up for them, pretending to understand his struggles when she has no real observation of it, just like just a fake televised version of it and stuff like that, or something that happens on the news, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, and then the little racist dude, he just like, okay, well, I learned my lesson and everything. I feel sorry. And it's like, that don't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like very rushed. So that's one problem I have with the writing in terms of like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of like, this could have been a teaching moment for her. She should have witnessed this and saw how they treated him and understood. And maybe somebody can explain why. Because like, okay, well, this would have been like this. I would have done it like this. The white dudes balled the paper up, threw it at him. He looks at them, he's pissed, and she doesn't understand why he's pissed, because she probably think, oh, maybe they just missed a trash can or something like that. He's like, no, they're like racist, and they did that because they think I'm their little servant slave boy and everything. And then he could have taught her like, this is why this is wrong. And then when she sees those boys next, then she could have laid it into them. That would have been a much stronger thing. But this show writes it in a way that just makes her look like a hero without learning an actual lesson. Another problem I have, I started mentioning Nico, and I lost my train of thought, but let me bring him back up. So he's her love interest after she gets like broken up in the second episode, and he's her love interest for the rest of the series from what I heard and read online. So it's like, okay, it would have been better, in my opinion, for her to try to get with her co-worker who's the black dude, as opposed to Nico, who's a white guy. Because here she is, kind of like, she lives in a predominantly white town. She's unaware of what people of color is. She has this preconceived notion of them, that's slightly false and slightly factual and everything. And it would have been more better for her to understand and fall in love with him. But no, they went the other route and just had her jump in the arms of a white dude and stuff. So she ain't really learning nothing. And who he ends up with is kind of like weird in a way. So let me get into some of those other characters. Next is Whitney. She is the black character, and she is the one who has the mom as a senator. The mom is the one, the actress I don't like, and I will get into later. Now, her thing in the show is that she plays soccer, and she plays really well, but then she makes an enemy out of this one girl named Jenna. And Jenna feels like the coach is kind of giving her a little bit special treatment and stuff like that. And she feels that the only reason why Whitney is getting that is because of her mother being a senator and everything. But it turns out that Whitney is actually sleeping with the assistant coach Dalton. Don't know how they met, but yeah, they're like hooking up and everything. And so like of course, like he doesn't want her people to find out, so he wants to keep it secret and everything like that. But they're basically just like doing it, and that's how she's getting ahead in like soccer and stuff. So with her being like the daughter of a senator, I was expecting her to have more of a brash, kind of like know-it-all kind of attitude, like many a few of them like have and everything, similar to that of Meghan McCain. This like thinks she knows it all about politics, all because her father was a senator and everything. And you would assume that she would have like kind of like this brash personality, or think she's a know-it-all and doesn't want to listen to other people. 'Cause that's how a lot of like kids of like political figures are, and celebrities and stuff. But actually, no. She's actually very nonchalant, very cavalier, very sweet and everything. And so she's the complete opposite of that. So you don't really get that vibe. And that would have made more sense for her to be that way, a little brash and everything, because but she's not. So it's I guess that's the kind of good thing, because then people's all like, oh, well, you're not like your mom. And her mom is very brash and very rude. That's why people don't like her and stuff. And so, like, when it comes to her and him, like, they're always like clickety clacking around and everything like that. But then it's revealed in the episode that he is married, because she's jogging and everything. And no. Yeah, she's jogging, and he came back from the store, and she sees him like, oh, hey, how you doing? Because he doesn't want to be seen in public with her and stuff, because they're hiding their relationship. Even though they're both adults, she gets special treatment because he is her coach. And so it's revealed when his wife shows up, and then she's just like shocked by this. And so she confronts him later on in private, and he's all like, look, me and my wife, we're going through like some hard times and things aren't working out. And she's all like, screw you and everything. So then when she's at a frat party, she's just like pissed. And so she sees the first guy she sees, and she sleeps with him. That is Cannon, the dude who works with Kimberly, who I felt Kimberly should have been with. And so they sleep together and everything. But then by the second episode, she's back with like the assistant coach. And it's like, why? He played you. He's married. So I don't understand. She's so upset about this. So why is she back with him? And I don't know if she keeps it on with Cannon or not, because it does say he's a main character, even though he's really a recurring character. I'll get into that a little bit later. That's another problem I have with the show. So it's like, if she's still with him, if she's still with Cannon, and she's still messing around with Dalton, then she's doing the very same thing she's mad at Dalton for doing. So that don't make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Also, her and Dalton, they have no chemistry whatsoever, and I mean whatsoever. And it's just like, I don't see you think like, okay, if these two actors don't have chemistry, why did they put those two together? You're like, you know what I'm saying? And so that makes absolutely no sense. But that's, for the most part, it's all about her character. Oh, and then there's the Jenna thing. So Jenna don't like her because Jenna thinks she's stuck up and rude and gets special treatment because of her mom. So she finds out that Jenna's having a party with the rest of the teammates and not her. So she gets upset. And so, like, instead of letting this linger on for the entire series, no, they clean it up within like the second episode. She buys her like a housewarming gift type thing, like some soaps and like bath oils and stuff. And then Jenna breaks up with her boyfriend. They have a huge fight. Jenna's like, what are you doing at my party? So then they talk and they bond and they reconcile. Just like that. I'm just like, dude, like, why did this happen so quickly? This should have been like an ongoing feud. And then Jenna tells her, guys don't date girls like us. And so it's kind of like, what does she mean by that? Like, that's not explained yet. It might be explained later on in the season. I don't know. The only idea I can get from this is either guys don't like strong women and don't want to date them, or Jenna's really a lesbian and Something like that. That's all I can think of. Why did I say lesbian? Because there's another character who interacts with Whitney. Oh, geez, what is her name? I want to say Willow. Um, yeah, Willow. Willow, she meets. Cause this is what I mean. Okay, Willow, she meets in the locker room. She's a soccer player, and she has like a rainbow flag type thing on like her locker, and it says equality. So Whitney assumes she's a lesbian, but then Willow plays off like, oh no, I'm not that. But then she's like, hi, I'm just kidding. And then so like the way they have Willow talk to her, it seems like Willow is into Whitney. So that made me think, okay, what did Jenna mean by that? She said guys don't date girls like us. Like, you know what I'm saying? And um so I had that feeling. So I don't really know what Jenna meant by that. Now let's get into Bella. Bella is a very strange, interesting character. Bella is a person who is like she writes. She wants to be a writer, so she tries to get like in this writing club, and she's a English major and stuff like that. She is an Indian American, and so one thing I've noticed about her is that she constantly smiles all the time when she talks. I don't know if that's just her character or that's just the actress and everything, but it's getting very annoying because she just smiles all the time until she gets upset. So I didn't know what to make of this character when I first saw her. I just couldn't like get like a feel for her and everything. And so like I'm just like, what is her deal? Like seriously, like, what is it? Like what is she about? Because you hear her parents talking and everything. Her parents seem very um straightforward, very like standard. And it's kind of like it seems like she might have grew up sheltered and everything. So of course what happens when she got into college, she turned into a huge freak and everything, but she was probably freaky before that. When I say freak, I mean sex freak. And so they say she's sex positive and everything, but boy, she takes an overdrive. Like she's written, okay, you've seen characters like this before. You've seen characters who's been sheltered go to college and let their freak flab fly. You know what I'm saying? But they do it in such a hokey, spoofy kind of way that it doesn't seem all that realistic, but it kind of does. And so when she's trying to get on this type of like writing board in their like school club, and so they're all like, well, you have to be voted in by the head members, and since you're a freshman you might not get it. But then she finds out she might not get it because she's a female and there aren't that many females on the board. There's one, and I completely forgot her name. When there's one girl, she's Asian, and she's on the board, and so like, oh, Evelyn and everything. So like, she's on the board. She's like one of the few females on there. So when she's at the frat party, Bella, when she finds that out, she's all like, Like she talks to this one dude who she thinks on the head. She's like, no, you have to talk to like these six other guys because they're the ones gonna vote her in. And we don't know what she does, but it cuts from him telling her you have to talk to these six guys, and it cuts to that to her dorm room telling her roommates she gave six hand jobs. And she's very happy and very proud by that. She's not ashamed whatsoever. And they're all like, dude, we told you to like do whatever it takes, not do whatever it takes. And she's all like, there's nothing, no shame in that and everything. And they're like, dude, you just gave like six hand jobs to six dudes you've never met before. And so she's totally okay with that and everything. And it's just kind of like, this is like a regular thing with her and everything. And then so when she goes to like this other party, she starts to see that there are these characters, like these female characters that give her like the dirty eye, and she doesn't understand why. And they're all like, before you like Jacko Wacko dude, why don't you like discover if he had a girlfriend first? And all six of those dudes had girlfriends. They look like the type that don't have a girlfriend. So when she was whacking into jacking and everything, she just didn't realize that, hey, they're taken. And Evelyn and everything, which is one of the funny parts of this. Like, she's all like, did you get my text message? And she's like, no. She's like, oh, let me send it right now. And she's standing right next to it. And it's like, F off. And everything. Evelyn had a boyfriend who Bella was jacking and whacking. And so You'd think this would be a recurring theme that lasts an entire season between those two. Nope, it gets resolved in the second episode when they go to the naked party. And yes, they are actually naked. And you see a lot of stuff. And so they talk, so Bella just like apologizes profuse, like I'm sorry, like I didn't know, and then Evelyn's all like, oh, well, I'm one of the people who voted for you because I like your stuff, blah blah. She's like, really? She's like, yeah. She's like, I guess I can forgive you. Then they hug it out because Bella just hugged her naked, and it's like, so that's it. That gets resolved just like that. She messed around with 6 dudes who had girlfriends. Now everybody thinks she's a slut type whore, and then everybody hates her. But now all of a sudden, all because she apologized within the second episode, everybody forgives her now, and even one of the girls who had a boyfriend forgives her now. Like that's just some weird writing, man. Like you think this will like last longer, but this is just the second episode, so it makes you wonder what's gonna go on with her character for the rest of this season and stuff. And so like yeah, it's never really explained. Like, if she really was sheltered, it's never really explained why she's so sex positive. It's just her for so far in the second 2 episodes. It's just never explained. She just is, and you met those type of characters before and stuff. Like every character you like met, like I like um what is it? Kimberly type of person I've met before and like would be friends with. Um, Whitney's type of person that would probably like I'll talk to like in class and everything. Bella is the type of person who like will be a friend of a friend and you don't want to hang out with her and she's so annoying. And then there's Lighten, the type of person who car you would key or scratch with a sharp object. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. And so let's get into that character now. Lighten. She is very rude, very nasty. Her father does not like her friends from high school. He calls them a-holes and everything. She's like, Dad, that's not cool. They're my friends and everything. Well, when she goes and meet her new roommates, the girls I just mentioned, she's all like, who the F are you? She's all like, well, your roommates? She's like, me and my roommates signed up for the same room and everything. And so we had to write like this essay where we're compatible and we're supposed to get the same room. She goes and finds her old friends from high school. They're like, well, we filled the same thing out the same way. Maybe you're just not like good at writing or something. Turns out they don't want to be bothered with her. They don't like her. Why they don't like her? It's never explained. But she is a very rude, nasty character. Now, the actress who plays her played Regina George in the musical of Mean Girls, and she looks like Regina George and she acts like Regina George, so she is that character. She dresses like Cher from Clueless, but she acts like Regina George, and she's rude to every single last person on the show. She is a very unlikable person, but they want you to sympathize with her when we find out something about her. So her brother is Nico, like I said before. They have no chemistry. Every time he's around her, he acts like he wants her and everything. Like that's just the vibe you get. It's the dude who played Nick in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So like so it's weird because they don't act like brother and sister at all. And so like on one episode, she's in the classroom with her former best friends, and the teacher comes to her and he's all like, "Oh, you passed the like test quiz thing and everything. You did higher than like above average and everything." She's like, "Really?" She's like, "Yes, you should be in like a more advanced type class." And so like she's like, "Well, I'll do it under one exception." What's that exception? To make him look weak. They do this, and every once in a while, make men look weak on this show or scummy and everything. But they also make the women look kind of scummy too. But like I said before, just like the Wilds, the scummy girls have like redeeming qualities and stuff. And so like what he has to say, he has to talk about how great Lighten is, how amazing she is, how smart she is, how he's gonna lose such a smart like character and everything. And so that's just to do that to rub it in her best friend's faces. Now, casting, like I said, is weird. Dalton doesn't look like he'll be with like what's her name? Whitney. And when you see Whitney's two best friends, they don't look nothing like her. Like normally when you see a girl who looks like Lighten, she has a posse that looks very similar to her. These type of girls look like they'll be friends with Kimberly. So it's kind of like, why is she friends with them? And there's like, they're not even similar at all and everything. And Lighten's thing is like, she likes to buy gifts to like make people like her. And that's what she does with her roommates. Her dad has put in so much money into that school. He's like one of the donors and everything. And so like the thing about Lighten we find out that's supposed to make her a redeeming person is when she goes to that frat party. She she's about to go in, but then she decides, oh, you know, I left my phone. Let me go back and get it. Well, she lies. It turns out she has like a grinder app on her phone. She is a closeted lesbian and everything. She hooks up with tons and tons and tons of random women of all ages, her age and much much up. And then after she hooks up with them, she blocks them and everything. So one day she's making out in the car with this one lady. And so like the one lady's like, "Oh, do you go to exits and everything?" She's like, "How do you know that?" Like she looks very disturbed because she don't want nobody knowing what she is. She's like, "Because it's on your keychain." And she's all like, "Well, I'm finna leave." She's like, well, "I can tell you're closeted." And she's all like, so then she goes in a straight denial and everything about not wanting to come out and not accepting who she is. And the lady's all like, "You need to accept you are," and all this. She's like, "No," and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And so then the lady calls her and she just wants to see like how she's doing because she's worried because you know she's all like, "I don't understand you. This is also I don't understand you." She's all like, "Isn't your generation supposed to be like all out and proud and everything? So why are you still closeted?" That's what I don't understand either. With the younger generation, it's like more and more people are accepting of this. So why are they still closeted? I don't get it. I can understand why some of the older people, because they're still paranoid, thinking it's like the old days, but the younger generation sees it's totally different. So I don't get that. And so her character is in constant conflict with herself about herself. So you're supposed to redeem her because of that. Even though she's so rude and nasty to everybody, she gets so mean and upset one day that she vandalizes a statue, throws stuff at it, like a wine bottle and stuff. And then all of a sudden, as soon as she throws the wine bottle at the statue and starts screaming at it, cop security shows up, or campus security, and they chase her. That's supposed to be a big, hilarious thing. So the cops were just like waiting for her to do that. It just things are just so rushed in this show and everything. I don't get that. And it's kind of like with the Lighten character. I can understand if this was like a high school character they wrote the whole closet thing for, but I don't understand why they're writing it for like a college student, you know? I can only understand they're doing it because her dad might not like that. But we don't know how her dad feels about that just yet because I haven't watched the rest of the season. And so like but I don't want this character redeemed. Like she is mean and nasty and rude. You know what I'm saying? So why should they redeem a character like her for? I don't get it. Now Nico, her brother's story arc in this is he sees Kimberly looking at him and he's all into her because of that. Kimberly doesn't really seem like the type of girl he would be into because of how his family is, but hey, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so he finds out that she's taking French, an advanced level class. He took it the year before. When she goes to French class, you're only supposed to speak French. She is the only one in class who can barely speak it. It's not as fluent as everybody else is. So the teacher tells her, "Look, I understand your passion, but you need a beginner's course and you need to drop this class." She's upset and she has him tutor her and everything. So then that's when they start their little love like thing. Now, let me get into another part about this show I don't like. It's not rant time yet. It's main characters on this show who aren't really main characters, but are more like recurring. When you go on Wikipedia and you look, you see a bunch of people are main characters. But when you actually watch these first two episodes, they're not really main characters at all. They're mostly recurring. So I don't know why they've been bumped up to that. Now maybe in the rest of this season you'll see more of them, but you think if they was main characters, you would see more of them in the first two episodes, but you don't. And so that's what something I just don't understand. Like, why are they bumping up everybody to main character status when you watch the first two episodes, it don't feel that way. Now maybe it will. like I said, when I watch the rest of them, like, okay, when I watch the rest of this, and I will do a rundown review, because maybe my perception of this will change and everything. Also, with some of these characters that feel more like recurring or like main, is that you've, like I said before, you've seen those characters before and like in school. Like there's the foreign exchange student with the thick accent who's kind of weird. There is the like horny out there wild like paraplegic girl. There is the sharp tongue like Latino girl. There are the preppy like frat dudes who are like really rude and everything. There are the dorky nerdy guys. Like I've seen all those types before when I was in college. So it's like it feels like so that part is like, I recognize that stuff and that's good for the show. The only problem is they feel almost like stereotypes and stuff. 'Cause they kind of overdo their personalities in the writing, and because these stars are very new to like the show, they kind of like overdo it a little bit, like and it's just like it's weird because I recognize like all this. I'm like, oh man, I remember this and I remember that and I remember this, and then it's all like, but man, it's just done in such a like it's done in a realistic but unrealistic way, like Now remember when I said Whitney had a mother who's a senator and people don't like Whitney's mother and stuff like that? And so when I saw her, I was like, oh God, she's in this show. I'm like, oh God, she's in 5 episodes of this show. I'm like, why her, man? I don't like this woman. This woman is not only an idiot, but she is literal scum. And scum is something I really haven't called nobody yet on this like channel for the most part. I normally call people I don't like idiots, but like with Meghan McCain is scum. This actress who plays the senator mom, she is literal scum from what she did, and I could not believe what she did. Who is this person? Sherri Shepherd. I don't like Sherri Shepherd at all. And I mean at all. I literally think she is scum, and I think she's an idiot. She's an idiot because when she was on The View, she thinks that the earth is flat, not round, flat. I kid you not. She also thinks this bigot is like a genius. He is not. He is prejudiced. He is a racist. But the reasons why I think she is scum is because she did what deadbeat fathers do. Make a baby, then put their tail between their legs and take off running. See, a long time ago, well, not too long ago, about 5, 6, 7, maybe years ago, something like that, she got married to this guy, right? And so they was happily married and they wanted to have a kid together, but she's unable to have kids of her own. She was around 40, 50-ish at that time, right? And so like she decided she's gonna like get like a surrogate and everything. She's gonna use her husband's sperm and she's gonna use a donor egg from a black woman who looks very similar to her. And so then, but the egg that she used wasn't her surrogate. She got this other surrogate, this white looking lady. And so like, the surrogate lady, she's done this before because she likes the idea of giving people, families, like children who can't have them their own. But after this experience, she said she will never do it again when she went on Inside Edition. This is where I heard this from, Inside Edition. So 5 months into the pregnancy, the surrogate finds out that Sherri and her husband split up. And so when the baby was born, Sherri was nowhere to be found. And the husband allegedly said that, like, Sherri said that she didn't want to be a 40 or 50 something year old mother to a newborn because she's not a spring chicken no more. Now, Sherri went on The View and said that the only reason why she made this child because she was trying to save her marriage, and she admits she didn't do it for love. I'm just thinking to myself, this is not why you make a child. You don't make a child to keep your marriage alive. You make a child because you and your partner wants that child. You know what I'm saying? But it gets worse. See, because Sherri was never there, and the ex-husband said that she at that time she never even met the baby and everything, the boy that was born. And so the surrogate, because she was the only person there along with the ex-husband, the surrogate was forced to sign her signature on the birth certificate. And what happened? The surrogate got stuck with all the bills. Yes, and they were expensive. And she also had to, but see, the surrogate also had children of her own. And at that time, she was a single mother and she was a struggling waitress. And Sherry did not care. Sherry just like, whatever, and left. Left that woman in dire need, and also her ex-husband with the child and everything. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, that was the scummiest thing to do. That's literally what a deadbeat dad does. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that she's famous and she did that, that was messed up. But even though she is famous, she is struggling as an actress. Nobody really wants to hire her. She was able to get a gig with Dish Nation on the Ricky Smiley Show. She has now been named the permanent replacement host for the Wendy Williams Show. And I'm just like, dude. And then she was also recurring on this show. And I'm just like, when she's on this show, she has a daughter who's in college. I'm like, wow, that's like irony right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, how can you make a child that you don't want, but you only do it so you can keep your husband, but then they end up breaking up anyway, and leave the surrogate with like all the bills and everything? Why he couldn't pay the bills, I don't know why the court system didn't do that. But she had to pay the bills and everything. I guess she co-paid and everything because for some reason they forced her to put it on the birth certificate. So after going to court, the judge forced Sherry to put her name on the birth certificate, take the surrogate mother's name off, and pay child support. And that's what she's been doing this whole time. But then the husband's all like, I need more money, so he wanted to increase. The judge denied that. And he denied it because Sherry doesn't make that much money like she used to, because her acting career is pretty much just like floundered and everything. Now, like I said, this has been probably like 5-6 years ago. So there's a good chance that things have changed. There's a good chance now she actually loves her son and everything. And hopefully she does. So, but then, yeah, imagine this boy is going to grow up. He is going to find all this out. And he's going to have to deal with that trauma and everything. And it's just, she's scum. Like, she is literally scum. So when I saw her in the first couple of minutes of the show, I'm just like, oh, God, why is she in this show? Then when I found out she was going to be in 5 episodes, I'm like, oh, God, why is she going to be in this show? She is disgusting. I don't like her. Her and her son are okay now that he's 7 years old. And it's a good thing that she takes care of him, takes pictures with him, and she actually cares about him now. But still, the fact remains. And there's still no telling how he might feel when he gets older. So that's all on her. Now, wasn't that romantic? Or depressing, depending on what kind of video I just talked about. Okay, well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And bye.